Hey guys, it's your friendly neighborhood Doc here with another haul video. So this is the massive list of books here that I read for this week and picked up at my local comic shop, which is Comics and Collectibles in Memphis, Tennessee. So let's go ahead and take a look at this and see what I picked up this week. All right, guys, the first book is Absolute Wonder Woman, issue number 8. It is by Kelly Thompson with art by Hayden Sherman. This book moved really fast compared to how the rest of the series has moved. You have the reintroduction of Dr. Poison in this issue, but you're not really sure exactly who or what his motive is. Diana hears a mysterious sound in this issue, and you get to see he looks a little bit like concrete, but at the same time, he just looks like he has like a World War II heavy suit on. So it's almost a hearkening back to something that you would have seen out of Fantastic Four way back in the 1960s. Or, had those characters been around even in the Golden Age, it might be something that you'd seen in the 40s. But, it's very interesting, intricate design here with Dr. Poison. So you have to really dig in to this issue, enjoy the artwork. A lot of it looks, to me, oddly like something that John Romita Jr. would have drawn once upon a time. So I like that particular art style, although other panels are definitely Hayden Sherman. So, like I said, this book flew by. Not really much to talk about, but I really enjoyed it. It had this momentum, just like Percy. It had this momentum that made it a lot of fun, and I can't wait to see who Dr. Poison is in this universe and exactly what his power set is, and more importantly, what he wants from Wonder Woman. All right. Next up is Batman, issue 160 with Hush 2, Part 3. So we have Jeff Loeb as writer, Jim Lee as artist, Scott Williams as inker, and we get this really detailed artwork, which is what Jim Lee is known for. You get to see a bunch of cross-hatching and facial feature close-ups. You've got Jason, you've got Hush, you've got Batman, you've got Commissioner Gordon. You've got the Riddler, who kind of, to me, looks like Tom Hardy in this issue. You've got all of these things coming together, and you've even got Batman himself coming up against Silence. But the thing that you always have to remember about Batman... Hang on, Percy. The thing you always have to remember about Batman is he's got not only a plan A, but a plan A, B, C, D, E. So he doesn't fall, no matter what Silence says. Silence says you will fall. And he does not, though, because he's able to withstand the sound and the intensity of Silence's voice for longer than the Joker could, until he can turn off his audio, within his bat cowl. And in order to do that, it negates whatever sound that Silence is making. But then he also finds out that punching Silence is not going to do him any good, because he's somehow cybernetically enhanced. And now you have Bane going up against Silence. So that ought to be an interesting scenario, to be sure. And you do get confirmation in this issue of who Hush is. So that kind of opens, one door, closes another one. You don't have to go back and say, I wonder if this really is... I'm not going to spoil it for you, even though it's a 20-year-old story. But you're trying to figure out whether Hush is who Hush was, or if it's a new character underneath the bandages. And all I'm going to say is this issue gives you that reveal. By the way, I did also pick up the giant-sized copy of this issue because I started with issue 158 and I was going to collect this first run of this title in the giant sizes as well. So that 11 by 17 book is really, really amazing to see that artwork in full bleed. Percy is all about wanting to say hi to you guys tonight, but instead he's just running around like a lunatic. So you'll be seeing Percy along with The Cats in Feral, issue number 13 by Tony Fleecs, with art by Trish Forstner and Tone Rodriguez. And you get the cats, our main protagonists, that are trying to make it into a pet store because they realize there's a bunch of infected animals that are walking around this pet store, but it's like they don't know how to get in because it's secured, from the outside. And just like rabid animals and things like that, their senses and their ability to think straight are not all, their faculties are not all there. And so as this goes along, they get into the building with this awesome artwork, which, again, I say it every issue, but it kind of reminds you of a Don Bluth animated film. But you get this artwork that absolutely brings you into the story. You get these cats who are trying to walk across this electrical wire, pretty much a tightrope, and then they hear this massive storm overhead. So they finally do make their way inside, but surprise, surprise, they may not be alone. This story has captivated me from the first issue. If you like cats, if you like animals at all, then sometimes there are issues that are extremely heartbreaking. And, it's pretty much The Walking Dead with cats. And other people have said that, and I really do believe it. And the story that they're trying to tell with Tony Fleecs and Trish Forstner and Tone Rodriguez has kept up for 13 issues. The excitement, the excitement. Just like Percy tried to jump off of something over on the other side of the room, and instead he kind of missed the bed. So you got that. So instead of talking about comic books, guys, apparently I'm going to be, this is cat talk with Doc. But Percy's just trying to be a little kitten, and I love him so much. I love you, buddy. I really do. All right, next up, we've got G.I. Joe issue 7 by Joshua Williamson and artwork by Andrea Milana. And here we have Beachhead. And Beachhead is always concerned that he's training the next replacement for himself. So since the beginning, since the first issue, we're trying to build a new G.I. Joe team. That's what's going on here. It's not like G.I. Joe, a real American hero, which has been around for 317 issues now, and you've got your team. This is, pretty much the same characters that you know and you love, but set in a new universe, in this Energon universe, with the Transformers and with Void Rivals and other books like that. So the artwork in here by Andrea Milana is really, really good. It's got depth of shadow. You get to see Beachhead attack these two guys here. And you still have your funny moments where he has to hide behind a box because it had been delivered. And meanwhile, you got this old guy who is old money that is entertaining a couple of younger ladies in his bedroom. And meanwhile, you've got Beachhead fighting off these two ninjas, and they come crashing through the wall, and they're like, yeah, you should probably leave now. You probably shouldn't hang out around here because things are about to get extremely, extremely dangerous. So I've loved this this book since issue 1. Issue number 6 with the fight between Duke and Cobra Commander was the best issue in this run, but this one continues that story as they are continuing to build out this team, this covert ops team, and I just can't get enough of it. All right, guys, we got a big stack this week, so I'm sorry that I'm running through it a little bit more quickly than I normally do. But we've got Green Lantern, issue number 23 here by Jeremy Adams with art by Zermanico. And you have Hal Jordan confronting the Spectre. Didn't see that one coming. And I don't really know what Jeremy Adams is building to with that yet. But Hal Jordan and company have practically entered hell, and they find Gnort, who's one of the other Green Lanterns, who has been trapped here for an extended period without his Green Lantern ring. So he hasn't been able to leave. Meanwhile, you have a character that pops up from Hal's time as the Spectre, and Hal says, I know that I change you here, but we need this necklace that you have in order to save the entire universe. And cue enter the Spectre, the spirit of vengeance, pretty much the wrath of God. And you still have Kyle and his friends here trying to escape this deadly space creature. And just in time, one of Kyle's superhero character, cohorts engages the light speed warp drive. So it's that same moment of where Han Solo and Chewie are going to get captured by the Empire, and all of a sudden R2-D2 manages to get the hyperdrive on the Millennium Falcon going, and boom, they blast off to space and are gone. Instead, you get them blasting out of this alien's closed mouth. But to me, the Spectre is the most important part of the storyline in this issue, because I've always liked the Spectre as a character. The idea that Jim Corrigan was a corrupt cop in the 1930s, he wasn't a corrupt cop, but he was surrounded by corrupt cops, and he was the only straight man. He was the only one who refused to take a bribe, who refused to take a fall. And he was killed by a bunch of gangsters and tossed into a cement barrel and tossed into the ocean and died. But God saw fit that his mission on Earth was not over, and it was his mission, should he accept, to come back to Earth and live a double life as the Spectre and as Jim Corrigan. And here in this issue, the Spectre is without a host. And he comes to Hal Jordan saying, I need a new host. Why not choose somebody who I know and I'm familiar with? And Hal says, I have the strongest will in the universe, but for the mission of vengeance that you are trying to pull off here, my shoulders are too weak. Because if you ever read the series by J.M. DeMatteis and Ryan Sook and a bunch of other artists that came out about 20 years ago, they made Hal the Spectre, but he refused the mission of the spirit of vengeance and instead became the spirit of redemption, choosing to see that everybody has a chance at a redemption arc. If he did the things that he did as the villain Parallax, and he was still given the opportunity to be redeemed, then didn't everybody else in the world deserve that same chance? So, as always, the art by Zermanico is absolutely top-notch. Cannot fault it at all. And this interaction between Hal Jordan and the Spectre makes this book probably my favorite book of this week. All right, next up, we have Minor Arcana, issue number 7 by Jeff Lemire. And actually, this issue has illustrations by Letizia Catanese. And we still see Teresa and now Officer Brad. And Officer Brad is on the hunt and has seen some strange symbols, and he wants Teresa to try to figure out if she knows anything about it. Meanwhile, Teresa's mom runs into this guy who's coming through trying to... kind of looks like a hippie. Kind of looks like he's trying to get people to sign a petition. And let's see here. What was he trying to get the petition to? Trying to stop the power plant from coming in. So, you get this guy, and she says, "Wait a minute, don't I know you? And you were in a band back in the '90s, weren't you?" And so, hey, maybe Teresa's mom's got a boyfriend, and things are going to look up in that instance. But you still get these two kind of going out almost on a pseudo date, but she doesn't know enough about the tarot cards and all of that, and the arcana to know what that symbol is. So she said, "You know what, when I get home, I'll ask my mom about it and see if we can't figure out what it is." So you get a little bit of slice of life, and most importantly, Teresa has really been an unlikable character for the entirety of this series, for the first 6 issues. Here you get to see a little bit more fun side to her, a playfulness that has been missing from this series before. But now you see that she does have some redeeming features, and she does have some love to give other characters. It's just with a heavy, heavy dose of sarcasm, and it's under the right circumstances. So this book is continuing to grow on me, and I can't wait to see where Jeff Lemire and company are going with this. All right, next up is The Last Boy by Dan Panosian, Alessio Avallone, and Valentina Pinto. And this continues the real-life story of Peter Pan, who's been attacked by the Phantom King. And it all started in the first issue, he killed Captain Hook, seemingly. He sent Captain Hook overboard on his own vessel. And when Captain Hook fell into the water, then he was attacked and eaten by alligators. And in that case, then everybody's kind of turning on Peter Pan, because Peter Pan is the only one in this world that refuses to grow up. He says, this is my world, this is what I know, so I'm going to continue on as I have for all these years. And you get in this issue kind of a heartbreaking reality that life has changed again for Peter and company. He goes to meet Tiger Lily and wants to speak to the chief. And she says he's fallen ill since he found out what happened to Captain Hook. When he found out, then he became sick because he worked so hard. Hook and he worked so hard to get the tribe and Hook's pirates a fair deal. And Peter he can't see. It's like he can't hear what changes need to be done in his own life. And since he can't figure that out, then he just keeps bumbling forward. And at the end, then Tiger Lily says, I know this Phantom King. He's familiar to me. I knew he would come one day. And Peter says, that sounds like crazy talk. We've got to arm your forces. I need your army to take this guy down. He's destroying the, Neverland. And she says, okay, I'll do this, even though it'll mark the doom of my people. And he says, why is that? Why? And she says, because I can't say no to you. And again, he says, why can't you say no? And she says, because I loved you and I've always loved you. So Peter's learning that his words have responsibility, and they can make somebody do something for him that may not be healthy for that person, but it'll help Peter in the long run. But at what cost? So I've really enjoyed this so far, 3 issues. I think it's a 5-issue mini, so 2 more issues to go. But I've really enjoyed this different look at the world of Peter Pan and the last boy, the one that refuses to grow up, the one that says, no matter what is going on now, this is the way it's always been. Why can't it stay the same? All right, guys, we're getting to the bottom. So you have Ultimate Spider-Man number 17 with the return of Harry Osborn to the fold. And you get to see who's really in charge, and it's really his wife, who's Gwen Stacy in this universe. It's not Liz Allen, but instead it's Gwen Stacy, who's still alive. and who is one of the Mysterios. And she loves her husband as well as she serves the Mysterio clan as one of many. And she says, like, she pretty much pulls a Seth Rollins and says, let's burn this down. She says, we have the Mysterio amulet for 1 week. Let's go to war. So she's trying to, quote unquote, avenge her husband, who most people still think is gone, is a person who's not there anymore, that he perished at the hands of Kraven the Hunter. But that's not true. That's not true. But he gets his Green Goblin armor back in this issue, and they take war straight to the Kingpin's, one of the Kingpin's buildings, and the associates. So you get to see all of this just building up and building up and building up, and we still have the Maker coming in a few months. So how is all of this come to play together? I think it's going to be a lot of fun, guys. All right, and we have 3 more to go. If I can pick up this book, it's not wanting to come loose. All right, we have The Mummy, issue 3 by Faith Erin Hicks and Lee Loughridge. And you still have Helen and Imhotep fighting over who is going to be in charge of this body, because she has been resurrected by Best, and he just wants to have his love be by his side, but he doesn't understand that Helen has a life of her own and that she may not want what he wants. So this really takes what the movie was and builds upon it to an amazing extent. And it shows the catechism and the distance between these two characters who have to share the same body. So I've heard some people can't really get into this and they think that the art is too cartoony, but I don't think it's really the art that you need to focus on in this story, but more so on the characterization and the character work between these two characters who both want their lives and they both want to be loved and to love, but one wants that eternal love and the other girl wants to party and find her love on her own time. All right. Void Rivals number 19. We have Robert Kirkman. Connor Hughes is the new artist. And we get Skuxoid at the cover. And in the interior, you get the Junkions and Retgar, who talk TV. So their entire speech pattern is based on TV and ads. Completely taken out of context. So you can't take these guys seriously no matter what you read. Just a random panel here. He's got a sleek new model with plenty of leg room. Yes, sir. This one is riding in style. Hi ho, to Junkion we go. That's the kind of thing you're going to get when you read the Junkions. They talk TV, so it's all game shows, one-liners, and things of that nature. So you get Skuxoid, and now you have 3. But the original one got cut in half. So what's going on here? Well, it appears that he is able to regenerate his body when he's damaged. So it's just one of those things that just keeps building. It keeps building, and you're getting closer to issue 25, 24, and 25, which are usually anniversary issues. So I have a feeling that Robert Kirkman is not going to let us down when we get to that massive anniversary issue. And Connor Hughes is the new artist on the title. Lorenzo De Felici's last issue was the last issue. But you get somebody here who, although he's got a little bit different artwork design than De Felici, it fits with where these characters are going. So you still get to enjoy the same type of characterization and there's Skuxoid Alpha. You get to enjoy that without being jarred into a new style of artwork. That's one thing that I do enjoy with Robert Kirkman with his title is he hasn't brought on one person who is a Mark Bagley, for example, and another person in the next set that is a John Romita Jr. The artwork for this title has remained, pretty solid this entire time. All right, and last but not least is the Department of Truth, issue 30 by James Tynion IV and art by Martin Simmons. And you've got the continuation of Lee Harvey Oswald trying to figure out how he's going to let go of control of the Department of Truth. And I'll go over real quickly that the Department of Truth is a shady, secretive government agency that not even all the presidents are aware of, not all of the higher officials are aware of, but they determine what is reality in the world. So even when, Tricky Dick Nixon was in office back in the 60s, in the 70s for Watergate after LBJ, then they were the ones that decided that Watergate was going to be such a big deal and things were going to go the way that they went. And so Lee Harvey Oswald, of all people, is alive, and he's the one that's pulling all the strings behind the curtain. He is the man behind the curtain, deciding what is real, what is not real, what is true, and what is false. And the U.S. has the Department of Truth, and Russia, in earlier issues, has been shown to have the Department of Lies. So all I'm going to say is this last page of this particular issue will absolutely blow your mind where it goes, where the story is going. So just excited to see what happens in issue 31 when it comes out next month and see where we go from there. All right, guys, that is it. As I told you, it was a massive, massive week this week, but I had a lot of fun reading these books. Did you guys pick up any new issue ones or anything? Did you go through with emotions and just pick up what you normally pick up? Or did you go and kind of walk the shelves and see what your fingers, picked up, flip through, what you're attracted to? And just let me know in the comments what you guys thought. And we will always have these wonderful comic conversations on here, talking about our new hauls every week. And that's pretty much what I got for you this week, guys. It's a supersized edition of this particular video. So I hope you've enjoyed, and we will see you guys next go around.